Okay, we're back. Matt Heafy.
What's up, my friend? Great to see you.
Listen to that high quality microphone. You are a live streaming expert. What a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
If
What an incredible thing you're doing, dude. This has been amazing. I've been watching a little bit. We rated you from the other stream. It's been looking fantastic. You're doing an amazing thing, Will.
I appreciate that. I don't know what rated means because I never do this, but it sounds like you did something good. So
it's a
thank
good thing.
you.
Yep, of course, man.
If you don't know who Matt Heafy is, he's the mastermind behind Trivium, which is probably one of the biggest metal bands in the world now. A long-standing career of cool shit, and one of my favorite humans in the metal community because of how generous and kind he is, and how hard he supports young bands, which is, like I had just talked with Derek, such a rare treat these days to see dudes in big metal bands take a step out of their lane and bring up young bands. And I mean, honestly, out of anybody that Fit for an Autopsy's come across, you fly the flag for us harder, and you've probably done more for our band than any other band on the planet. So we love you and thank you. And thank you for coming on this and bringing all the hordes or raids or whatever the Twitch folks are saying these days. You know, I appreciate you rallying the troops for this.
Okay, man.
How the fuck are you? How's Florida?
I'm great, man. Thank you so much for the kind words. I mean, we just started off as fans of you guys, and now to be able to call you guys some of our best friends on the entire planet, is such an amazing thing. And we've only done what every person who loves music should be doing, is just spreading the good word of good bands, and especially good bands with incredible messages. That's a thing that I know we'll start jumping into some of these topics, but I was thinking about just what a great thing it is how your band, our band, we've always been vocal about the right thing, and the right thing being accepting of all walks of life and fighting for and championing all walks of life. Because that's something that bands like us, bands like you guys, we get hit with sometimes of the attitude of, you guys should stick to what you do best and just play guitar and shut up, basically.
I mean, we have to deal with it all the time. And I come from a hardcore background where it was like a no-brainer to be outspoken and against social injustices and things like that. And then, we do this metal band and we try to do this stuff, and it's met with such criticism. We're like, this is fucking wild. I can't believe we have to deal with this. And we just did it the other day too. We're like, watch this. Let's go put a Black Lives Matter support post up and count the fucking idiots, and it's like, yeah, at this point in my life, we've learned we are who we are. We say what we say, and we don't care anymore. And that's just the way forward for all of us. So thank you for using your even larger platform to keep doing it. And, I just spoke with Derek, who had a nice return to form. I know you're a Sepultura guy too, but the new Sepultura, he's just back at it too. Fucking mass incarceration courses and stuff. Like, he's on it now. It feels good to see that people are on this shit again. So
that's what I've always loved so much about hardcore and punk, that it addressed those things and it was expected to address. And I feel like rock, it is not. Rock is like the opposite. Rock is kind of like, you don't address that and you stick to what you do best. But metal, I love the conversation that you and I had back when I was asking about how you got into music. And that's something I want to have you on my show so we can show the world that. But that you got into hardcore and punk first, and then it was like melodic death metal that you wanted to bring on top. And I was the opposite. I got into metal first, and then it was metalcore and punk and hardcore that really opened my eyes to a lot of other things. And that's why even very early on, our first record deals with, if I want to think about like social issues, it deals with abuse and domestic violence and child abuse. And our second record is one that deals with kind of branching out further. The third record, we actually went into using specific song examples. The song Contempt Breeds Contamination. When all this stuff started going down, again, as it's been constantly going down, unfortunately, in this country and the planet, I posted Contempt Breeds Contamination. That song is a story about a man named Amadou Diallo. He was racially profiled, and he was essentially executed by, four people of, power of the law. And it was a story that kind of just gets thrown in with the rest. And I thought it was so important that we made a song about that. And that's not something that you often see, like a specific song about a specific social event fighting a sociopolitical issue. And that's another thing. Like, I feel like a lot of people try to lump in issues of race and they call it politics, where race should never be considered politics. People should never be considered politics. It gets lumped into politics, but it's people, and people first, and people have the right to be who they are, like who they are born as and who they feel like being. And that record also has a song. I mean, this month is also Pride Month, and that's something that I believe that the LGBTQIA plus community is really fighting more so for Black Lives Matter in the current thing. And we also have a song about Matthew Shepard on that same record, who was a gay man who was tied to a fence and beaten to death. And these are things that I feel like people need to put the correct message in their music and let people know that this isn't okay. Like, and that's why I've been so happy that guys like you, guys like me, were able to use our songs for this. And I feel like that's such a huge responsibility that a lot of artists are neglecting, maybe not using, maybe they just want their band to be a monetization machine, so they're using things that are safe.
Sure. I mean, I can understand the hesitation. I mean, it's a harder path to success because it immediately alienates people who don't want to hear politics or commentary on social issues. It immediately can eliminate a fan base like that, like very quickly like that. And it's hard to write a song about a gay man who is beaten to death and have a hit and make it catchy and connect on a commercial scale, because it's uncomfortable for people to have to hear about things like this and deal with it. And so the hesitation there, I can see. And if I'm a younger band, I'm trying to make it and I want to be a rock star, it's like, would you sacrifice your potential life and career to go, to put this message out into the world because it's important to you? And, part of what I said in the intro of this whole thing was like, at some point in your life, you just have to look at who you are as a person and realize, like, am I comfortable just like not doing anything anymore? And, I know a lot of my friends and you and, everyone has their come to Jesus moment at a different time in their life where they just decide, this is the kind of person I am. And when you're comfortable in your own skin, you can make art that reflects that genuinely, and you can inspire other people to do the same thing. And I think it takes a lot of soul searching, experience, education. It's not something you just say, I'm gonna go do this now, to do it correctly. And it's fucking hard. So you're in no place to have to do any of these things. So I'm glad to see that, you still do this. So I wanted to ask you, because you recently just put a new record out, which is awesome too. Congratulations on that. What did Dead Men Say? Right? Did I get it right? So many fucking records this year.
There are a lot,
but it's great. And I know you hit a lot of things on that. So tell me a little bit about, the newer Trivium stuff, and where lyrically you were at, what how that shaped your writing process with what's going on and everything.
With our band, we've always felt that lyrics are just as important as music, and that's a given. Saying that to you, it's apparent, it's obvious that Fit for an Autopsy and Trivium has always put lyrics at the same level as riffs. That's not really a constant, and you and I have seen the bands that don't do that, and I'm sure the viewers can think of some as well. Like, music really nails it, lyrics are kind of whatever. They're just maybe just past, like, going through the motions. So with this record, I'm really lucky. Paulo, as of the last record, has stepped up as a major lyricist, melody writer, vocal writer. I've been able to put myself in the mindset of more so an actor, and he's a director/writer for a lot of this stuff. But the same thing with this record. It's a lot about getting into social injustices and getting into topics like that. What I love with The Defiant is when I first heard this song, like, Paul and I kind of co-wrote the lyrics together with different ideas in mind. And when I asked him, what did you mean when you're writing these lyrics? And he said he was thinking about people in power. And it is not specifically about one thing, but you think of people like Harvey Weinstein. You think of people that have this insane amount of power, that are able to corrupt and victimize people through their power, and a lot of people are afraid to speak against them. And Defiant is a track that deals with that a little bit. The Ones We Leave Behind is one I feel like really applies to the current situation that's happening now.
I would have mentioned that song too, yeah, because I think that really applied to what's going on right now, and I think that sentiment, that statement itself echoes it. But it's true. It's like we have neglected our responsibility as fucking, decently paid, well-off people who live in the suburbs in this country to be a little more active and support positive change for the Black community. And, I'm happy to see that everybody is involved now. And, we keep talking about how we say these things in our music, but, we both, through the nonprofit work, we're backing it up. You're talking about it right now. I think all these conversations that everyone keeps having right now is necessary. And, I wanted to ask you, you're a Japanese American. I guess I would consider you, part of course, you're part of a minority community in our community. You've probably had to deal with scenarios before where, there's been stereotyping and biasing. I mean, you put Japanese culture heavily into artwork and earlier, or, album covers and stuff. And there are a lot of people, there are a lot of people of color and Black artists who look up to you, who are going to watch this, who, are in other bands and this and that, who want to model themselves after and be a successful musician in this world, and get through these things. So advice to kids coming up in bands, and advice to younger people of color who are being, discriminated against, like, what can you offer? I know you have a large fan base. They listen to you, they trust you. And I think it's important that you talk about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was hard. I mean, my mom was an immigrant. She immigrated from Japan. I was born in Iwakuni. We came over here. My dad was a Marine, and he was always deployed. So for the first couple of years, it was really my mom and I, and she raised me with what she knew. I dealt with a little bit in high school, or a little bit in middle school, a little bit coming up, but I did deal with it like touring. So like when we'd open up for bands, if bands didn't like us, I remember one guy pulling his eyes to the side and flipping me off. And, you get the typical really nasty Asian stereotypes, like kind of thrown at you for people that didn't like our band. I mean, up until 2007 or 8, it was a war every single band we opened for. Specifically, the tour right behind me here, it was Lamb of God, Trivium, Machine Head, Gojira. That was the lineup in North America. I remember after one of the shows, a guy was waiting by our bus who wanted to fight me just because he didn't like our band. He was like, "Good show, James." And I was like, "James?" He's like, "Hetfield, good show." And he like kept getting closer. And I'm like, this is nonsense. So like after that era, that kind of fizzled away a little bit. I remember opening this tour as well. This was Slayer. We co-headlined with Slayer in the UK. It was Slayer, Trivium, Mastodon, and Monomarth. It's covered because I was doing some promo videos for Twitch. People probably like, "Why'd you cover the logos?"
I believe that you did it.
I remember even on that tour, like dealing with kind of like, that wasn't really like racial bullying on that one, but it's bullying more so like band stuff. My advice to people is, everyone wants the same thing in life. Everyone wants to enjoy their life, to love and to be loved, regardless of skin color, religion, sexual orientation, whatever it is. We are all equal. And I believe that any walk of life that isn't hurting another, actively hurting another, deserves to be here just as much as we do. And I feel like equality is a thing that absolutely is tantamount to what we do as bands. And we need to support that. We need to, as you said in the earlier, it was like right, you introduced me, which I really appreciate, is you say how we talk about bands, we try to champion other bands, and that is what's so important. This is not, if people want to think of it as a friendly competition, that's okay. Like, hey, that guy shreds on guitar, that band's killer live, I want to step up my game a little bit. That's a good thing. That kind of healthy, like friendship, steel sharpens steel kind of thing.
Absolutely.
But yeah. We've toured with a lot of bands early on. I remember when we started getting buzz in the UK. The UK is the only time and place our band has ever been considered a press band. That was the only time. We were given every magazine cover. Everything said Trivium's the best band on the planet, best record, best shows. When that happened, all the bands that I loved that we'd go out and tour with shortly after that would bully us, and they'd treat us like garbage. I remember reading one of my favorite singers, I won't say who, one of my favorite singers of all time, talking badly about me during a live show, like a live show review, like talking bad about Trivium, and this was in a live review of a magazine, and just being heartbroken seeing that. Like, that kind of attitude really sticks with people. I'm not saying like I'm harboring on that, but the idea of we need to all embrace everyone. Like, one band doing well, if there's another metal band that we started with, or a band that used to open for us, all of a sudden that's way above us, we need to all be supporting that, because when one heavy band does well, we all do well. And I think that's a mentality that's kind of lost. But I find that when you have that mentality just with bands, like my friends' bands are doing good, I'm doing good, we all get to go up together. If you have that ethos in you for just music and for bands, you should have that for the extension of life. All humans. If all humans get to do well, all humans get to live well and have what they need, and just to be able to love and to be loved, that's when we've got a much more positive music scene, a positive communities, positive country. And it's obviously any time that someone looks down on something saying, I am better than this, I am better than that, when that's a band mentality, a music industry mentality, or a human mentality, that's when we have issues of supremacy, and we have issues of hatred. And I think that's like a fundamental core value, that if someone looks at it as a weird competitive, like, I don't want these other bands to do well, you need to try to exercise those demons out of yourself and start working to embrace everything, and embracing all walks of life and everybody, and bringing everyone up together with you.
Sure. I mean, well said. I mean, I'm glad that we've found a community of musicians that me and you happen to be a part of, and all of our other circles where we can bring each other up. And I hope that that parallels itself into the world, and people all work towards lifting up people around them, and treating people nice and fair and equal. I mean, you're a sweet guy, Matt. Thank you for coming on this
Thank
thing.
you so much, I really appreciate it.
I appreciate the positive words, and I feel like we should mention our giveaway here.
Yep.
Want to give a quick shout to Epiphone and Matt Heafy for dropping one of the last Matt Heafy signature guitars. So they're not going to make these anymore.
Nope, we're fully discontinuing the black one and the white one. They're done. They were the highest selling Epiphones they've ever had, and we said let's just stop it there. So we're gonna change the paint jobs entirely, and this is one of the last ones in all of the planet that's unclaimed. So I believe there is one single Snowfall left in all of the world unclaimed. So it could be that one, or it could be one of the black ones, which I think there's maybe like 30 or 40 left.
Yeah, I mean, I left a little note that says we think it's black, but small chance it's white. Either way, it's a $10 guitar, so just take the win. And honestly, if you're going to complain about the color of a $10 guitar that kicks ass, just don't pick it. Then, but
if it's the Snowfall, save it, and it's going to be worth some money in a couple of years. Yeah.
Well,
it'll be worth $50.
Yeah, dude, awesome giveaway. Thank you for throwing the hammer down hard on this one. I really do appreciate it. You're the fucking best. All the love and support. Say hello to all the Trivium boys, and keep doing what you're doing, man. You're a fucking tremendous human. So thank you
so much. Thank you for doing this. This is an absolutely incredible thing you're doing, Will. Love you, man.
I appreciate you, man. Matt Heafy, ladies and gentlemen, the nicest man in metal. Take care.
Thank you.
Love him. All right, Matt Heafy donating one of the last Matt Heafy Epiphone signature guitars. The top selling Epiphone signature guitar of all time. It's no longer in production. This is one of your chances to grab the last ones. We think it's black. It might be white, but we think it's black. I just covered this. Soundrink.live, $10 charitable donation enters you into the random giveaway. Leave a note for what you'd like to win, and if we pick your name, you will win that item. Please donate. If you've already donated, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And support the Black Lives Matter movement. And I will be back in 3 minutes with some guy I know who I play in a band with, who you might know. His name's Brendan Murphy. All right. I'll see you in 3 minutes.